record on this computer.
Woohoo!
Okay. What are we gonna give you a choice of? Let's see. I have 4 choices left. Huh. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Do you like a kind of park building sim, or what's this? A sci-fi pixel art style, looks like a platformer of some sort. Mr. Nathan says, I'll have science fiction, thank you. Okay, send me privately an email address, a private chat message with your email address to okay. I think everybody just shows up to get a game.
I thought that was the point, that like you're doing this so that everyone shows up to class on time.
Not really. I literally do it so that I don't forget to hit record. Control V. Okay.
But that's a nice side effect, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, you are now the proud owner of Mo Astray, which has the keywords action, indie, adventure. But I'm looking at the videos, and it says utilize sticking, ramming, parasitic takeover, and memory recall to navigate the otherworldly sci-fi environment. So, Mo Astray.
That's some jargon.
Yes. Honestly, in these humble bundles, well, Eli, every time somebody else gets a game, it becomes easier for you to get a game because Nate, have I ever given you a game before? Uh-oh. Did I? I don't remember.
I think you might have given me one at the beginning, but I never received it.
Oh, well, have you gotten the email now?
Let me check.
Go check. Because I am willing to fix it.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, good.
I got this new one.
Okay, good. I don't
maybe I gave you the wrong email. Who knows?
It could have been. I just copy paste. So if you type the email wrong, some other person got the game.
Surprise.
The hilarious thing is when I get so wrapped up in giving somebody a game that I forget to actually press the button and actual record. But so like last hour I gave away 2 games because I got so wrapped up in giving away the first one that I forgot to hit record, and then somebody else reminded me to hit record, and so I gave them a game too. Because I'm nice like that.
It occurs to me, how many students do we have in this class?
26, 25, something like that.
So if we have 4 classes a week for 7 weeks, that's 28 classes.
Yeah.
Like everyone has to get one eventually if you're doing this strict.
Yeah. I mean, people can be jerks and lie and say I never got a game, and I'll give them 2 because I won't remember. I suppose I could make McKenna write down everybody who gets a game, but that's way too much work. It's supposed to be fun. Let's be fun and not be jerks.
Yeah.
So
Plus, I don't remember who all got
yeah,
games.
we've already screwed it up, so it's okay.
I don't have that good of a memory, man.
Okay, so reminders for things that are happening now. Tonight, Right Club number 3 is due at 11:59. Tomorrow, reading quiz number 3 is due. So get those in. And Monday, don't forget to put in your character sheet and play Dungeons and Dragons. And I haven't heard anything bad from this class. Well, not bad, but just like the other class, some DMs are like, I'm emailing my group and this person won't respond. Please respond. So please respond. Because at a certain point, your group has to play and they will leave you behind. And then really, I got no way to make up. Like you can't do remedial play D&D alone. D&D doesn't work that way. You need people to play D&D. You must play all of Planescape Torment by Wednesday. There you go. That's a bit of reading for you. So no, that's a joke. People coming in late. So you don't have to play all of Planescape Torment by Wednesday. Okay. So play D&D. I'm not hearing anything bad about tech stuff either. All the DMs have the Roll20 stuff that they need and PDFs and everything. Is that true? Have you tried it? Because let me just tell you that Monday night, see, now I realize why I shouldn't have things due at midnight. Because Monday night, when the Hero's Journey story was due, I started getting all these Discord messages with questions at like 9:30 p.m. It's my D&D group, not for this class, was supposed to have a session yesterday, but we had to cancel because there are only three people in total and one person couldn't make it. Yeah. My D&D group, one of my D&D groups, and the hilarious thing is neither of my groups actually plays Dungeons and Dragons. We play other things. But one, my wife will say, "Are you playing tonight?" And I'll be like, you know what? I'll believe it when we're all there and talking. People have canceled like 15 minutes before we're supposed to play. And especially that group. Whereas the other group, we went from like late September through January without missing a week. And then I jinxed it. I screwed it up. I was like, we've gone since late September without missing a week. You guys are amazing. And then the next week, 3 of them went, well, we can't play this week. So, and since then, daylight savings times wrecked us because we were playing on Monday nights, and Sunday was, Sunday is just that day where you're all screwed up and you don't know what time it is. And then Monday, when you actually have to go to work or go to class, is when you're like, oh my God, I didn't get enough sleep last night. And so by Monday night, everybody was like, I am beat. I didn't get enough sleep. Can we kill it this week? So anyway, so please respond to your DMs. Check that your Roll20 works, because honestly, it annoyed me on Monday that it's 9:30 at night. I was in the middle of my D&D session with my regular group, and we play on Discord, and I guess people saw that I was online on Discord and were pelting me with questions. And at one point I was like to my group, I'm like, hold on everybody, I gotta go answer questions for a bit. I'll be right back, like 2 minutes. And everybody was like, what the hell? It's 9:30. Why are you working? And I'm like, because it's due at midnight, because I'm an idiot. So also both the character thing and the D&D thing in Canvas, I believe, is due at midnight on Monday. But please play by class on Monday. Don't play Monday night. We are going to talk about the adventure on Monday and spoil it all. So if you haven't played it, it will be spoiled.
And I
okay.
can't wait more than a week to tell the awesome stories from Sunday night's game.
I am excited. It's kind of one of my favorite classes of this term, is hearing all the D&D stories of like, yeah, and then everything was on fire, and that's when actually the one year there was this it was an adventure where everybody was a goblin, and along the way you get fireworks, right? And the big final boss has a giant frog that can swallow a goblin whole, right? So the one goblin, the tongue of the giant frog, whatever, this is the tongue of the giant frog had, like, the giant frog had swooped out its tongue, and it had attached to the goblin, but I don't know, he made a roll or something and he didn't get sucked into the thing's mouth, but he didn't roll high enough to detach from the tongue. So the next round that the frog went, he was going to suck him in. And so he was like, I can try and get away from this tongue on my turn, break a grapple or whatever. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, or I could tuck a firework, a rocket under each of my armpits and light them, and then jump for the frog. And I was like, okay. So he got swallowed whole with lit fireworks, and they exploded inside the frog. And there was pieces of frog everywhere. He actually survived. He was unconscious and dying, but he lived, and it was a glorious moment. Okay, so that, I love those stories. I thought that was hilarious. Okay. Anything else? Play D&D by Monday. talk to your DMs. DMs, test out your Roll20. I'm going to ask you tomorrow, DMs, if you have any technical difficulties with Roll20. If you don't, then I assume it's all good. Okay. For whatever reason, most of the shenanigans in my games relate to dinosaurs. I had the game I'm playing now is a science fiction game, and see, this is the problem with D&D. Nobody wants anyway. And it was like 3 sessions where they were planning this heist that they were going to break into the captain's quarters and pick the lock on her safe and steal the MacGuffin, steal the thing. And they set up a diversion. They had a plan B and a plan C if the captain wouldn't go. They also considered putting the captain in an airlock and just spacing her. Just all sorts of plans. And at a certain point, they had taken so long to plan that I was just like, alarms go off and you have to do it now or it's never going to happen. And so they went, and the guy who was supposed to sneak into the captain's office, he met her on the bridge. And she was like, "What the hell are you doing here?" Because he failed his stealth roll. And he flashed a fake ID and said, I'm a member of the super secret service. I need the thing that you have in your safe. Give it to me now. And I'm like, okay, roll persuasion. And he rolled and he critted. He rolled as high as you possibly could. And she's like, "Yes, sir. I will hand over the thing to you." And everybody went, "We spent 3 weeks planning this thing and you just walked up and asked for it? You asked for it and she gave it to you. What? And I'm like, "Hey man, the dice don't lie. The dice says."
Best laid plans always succeed on a freaking crit.
Yes, exactly. They were so worried about all the ways it could go wrong, and they didn't think of the one way it could go right, which is just I crit. So okay. So I saw on the Discord that a lot of people couldn't get Facade running. Or actually, nah, just 2 or 3 people. Oh no, 3 people. 3 days, 2 computers, 2 remote desktops, 4 YouTube tutorials, 6 different downloads, and you can't get Facade to run. I don't know. I tried it today. It worked fine for me. It is a game that came out in 2005. So it is 16 years old. It was written by then 2 graduate students at Carnegie Mellon University. So imagine McKenna made Facade, and 15 years from now, people are still playing your game, McKenna. It's pretty amazing, don't you think? The 2 guys, Andrew Berg and Michael Mateus, are now respected professors in various places. I don't remember where Andrew Berg ended up, but Michael Mateus is at USC San Diego, and he's an AI researcher in their game development program. And I've met him a number of times at various conferences. And this was supposed to be the first of many kind of experiments in storytelling. The sequel to Facade was going to be set at a cocktail party. So there would be more characters, and you would wander from conversation to conversation and pick up a story somehow. And it never happened because one of them went, now I want to, Andrew Berg. Andrew Berg, Facade. Andrew Berg, architecture, Facade game. Andrew Berg, is it? Do I have the name Grace and Trip from Facade? Andy Berg profile, Pinterest. Not sure, because I'm getting architects. So I think I'm getting architects about the facade they made for a particular building. I'm not sure where, and maybe it's not Andrew Berg, maybe it's Andy Berg. I don't know. Or I guess I could
Andrew
start for
Stern. On,
Andrew
Wikipedia.
Stern. Thank you. Co-founder, developer, Playable Studios. Thank you. Andrew Stern. He is AI, VR, AR Unity voice in Portland, Oregon. He's a researcher and went to University of Southern California, and then 87 to 91 was at Carnegie Mellon University. Okay, so that tracks. So he is an innovator in VR, co-founder of Playable Studios, a dev team available for contract-based projects in VR and AR. Okay, so so he did not become an academic. He became an actual developer. Whereas Mateus is an academic. He's a professor at USC. So their idea, but you notice neither of them say writer, right? They are AI researchers and coders. And I'd just like to say that there's a common misconception that if you're good at one thing, you're good at all things, right? So remember when the Economist guy made a model for the pandemic spread and said it'll all be over by June because his model predicted it? Yeah. Economist, not so much. Didn't take into account all the pandemic stuff. The mostly didn't take into account that people are idiots, I think. So there's that. This is Mateus and Berg writing a script, right? So two AI researchers telling a story. And Mateus has spent a lot of time trying to procedurally generate stories, right? Does it work? %50 of the population has an underage IQ. And yes, his model did not project idiots. Does Facade work? Aside from those of you who didn't get it to run, right? But the ones who did get it to run, here we are with Grace and Trip in a room. You can talk to them. You can type anything at them. They have problems, obviously. Yes, you can type melon and they kick you out. That's a joke. Haha. Because they went to Carnegie Mellon. Does it feel like you are talking to Grace and Trip? Anybody?
I can start.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's really clear they had a good vision, but I think it's just like the English language is just so nuanced that
Mhm.
it's just impossible to kind of properly adapt it into an AI. I guess not impossible, but it's extremely difficult to adapt into an AI. And so I felt like sometimes it would just pick up on like one or two keywords I said instead of like picking
Right.
up on the whole sentence, and it felt kind of clunky.
Right. So there's a reason why text parsers are not part of most video games, right? Or even language. You'd think since in the 30 years that video games have been around. I mean, think about this. Old Infocom games, the very first game, which was Colossal Cave, right? Had a text parser where you say north, south, east, west, pick up lamp, get lamp, right? Um, uh, use lamp on bird, right? You complimented Grace and she said I needed to stop flirting with Trip. Well, okay. So there's a reason for that, and we'll talk about that. But text parsers in general are hard, right? You can't well, the English language is hard. So you just build in keywords, and then if there are no keywords, or if there, so imagine, this is the example I use. I should have taken a left at Albuquerque, right? So I should have taken a left at Albuquerque. Well, the text parser is not going to understand Albuquerque, right? It's probably not going to understand should have taken as a, because that's a real what is that, past pluperfect verb tense, um uh that mostly we have straight up command verbs, get, take. It might understand take but not taken, right? So it doesn't understand should have taken a left. We can get rid of articles because they're just filler words. At Albuquerque, it doesn't understand Albuquerque, so it'll probably throw away at, and what you're left with is I left, right? Which is, so as a computer, all I have is I left, or maybe left, and it'll turn you left. That's probably the most likely thing. If you type I should have taken a left at Albuquerque, it'll just turn you left, and you'll go, what the hell happened? Well, the only word it understood in that sentence was left, so you turn left. Or it will give you I didn't understand that, because somewhere in the programming is, if you don't understand, if there are X number of words and there are and more than half of them are we don't know, just give a we don't know, right? So if go left, I will go left, but blah blah left blah blah, I don't know, that's risky, I'm not going to do it. So text parsers fell out of fashion sometime around LucasArts and Sierra adventure games, and we haven't really seen. There are chatbots, which are specifically just talk with a thing, right? Talk with the computer. Good old Eliza, right? And actually there's a video game called Eliza, where you are a human being who is supervising an AI that is talking to other human beings. So that's an interesting game. So okay, the parser doesn't quite work, but here's the interesting thing. The I complimented Grace, and she said, so okay, what endings did we get?
I got kicked out.
Got kicked out.
I
Did you swear or did you say melon?
I think I might have said melon. I was
Okay.
just kind of typing words.
Okay. Got kicked out. That's the easiest. It's very easy. You just swear. Say again.
We tried to kiss Grace.
Okay. You can kiss Grace. You can hug Grace. You can kiss Grace. You can kiss Trip or hug him. Yes. They kicked me out. They said they would work it out and thanked me. So there's even degrees of getting kicked out, right? There's the you have insulted us, get out. And then there's the we think this isn't going well, you should leave kind of thing. So there's like the really bad, just get kicked out, and then there's the you tried, but we should work it out amongst ourselves. What else?
They got a divorce.
They got a divorce. Did somebody leave?
Yeah.
Who?
The girl left. The girl
Okay.
left. And it was funny because this is part of what made it off, is that I was trying to agree with the guy.
Uh-huh.
I was agreeing with the guy. I was like, okay, I was like, sure, I'll agree with that. And then like it's like the girl was like, you know what? You've made me realize that I'm the best, and so I'm gonna get a divorce now. It's like what? And then I was like, it was odd.
Okay. So Grace can leave, and there are degrees of Grace leaving. So like I quickly played it this afternoon, not on stream, and I got Grace confessed to sleeping with an art student the night before Trip proposed to her. And so she she kept saying, I jinxed this marriage before it even started. Carrie commandeered her roommate's computer and was able to play it for a bit. Got an ending where Trip was like, oh, I figured out something new about myself. Thanks, I'm going to leave now. Yeah, so there are positive and negatives of each of them leaving. There's the, I'm going to get a divorce because I am self-actuated, and there's, I am a horrible person, I don't deserve to be here, and I'm leaving. Both for Grace and Trip. Did anybody save their marriage?
It was doomed. It was doomed. Nothing we
Oh.
could do.
That's defeatist.
No, the game soft locking does not count as an ending. Sorry. I mean, yes, but no. You can save their marriage. and get them back together. You can also start a relationship with either Trip or Grace as either gender. Like you can choose to be Bob or Diane.
Oh, you'd be a
And-
home wrecker. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and you can start a relationship with either gender as either gender. So that's kind of
It's
interesting.
very forward thinking.
Um, uh, I think that's it. Last year, someone claimed that if you just say yes all the time, you get the get them back together ending. Just keep saying yes. And even at 3:00, the 3:00 session, somebody there said, I got them back together. And I'm like, what did you do? And she said, I just said yes every time. I just kept saying yes. I, knowing that from last year, just said yes. And I got I slept with an art student, I'm leaving ending. So saying yes all the time does not work all the time. I mean, it might work. So because there's something else going on. And that's not just the text parser, but your position in the room. So Sky and Nathan complimented Grace, and she said I needed to stop flirting with Trip. That's because you were closer to Trip than to Grace. No? Are you sure?
Yeah, we were standing right next to her and we'd been agreeing with her.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that it takes into account who you're closer to. And assumes that you are talking to the person you're closer to. Even if you say, Trip, you are great. If you're standing closer to Grace, Grace will say, thank you. Right. And even if you know that, it can screw you up because, like, I was facing Trip and talking to Trip, and for Christ's sake. Hold on a sec. It's no one. It's always no one. Or actually, in the last hour, I have to extend my car warranty. My car's about as old as Facade. So, I was talking to Trip, and I was closer to Trip, except I wasn't. I couldn't see Grace, and she snuck up behind me. That little minx. And I turned around, and I was Grace, you're right here. What are you doing? So I inadvertently talked to Grace when I thought I was talking to Trip because they move. So that's kind of interesting. So this is AI researchers trying to not it's not exactly procedurally generating a story, right? Because obviously the lines are pre-recorded, right? They got two actors to pre-record the game. And was I facing Trip? Yes, I was facing Trip, but standing closer to Grace. Yes, I was. And it didn't matter. Grace thought I was talking to her. So what they have is a bucket of stuff, right? And they pull from the bucket depending on, well, there might even be a little random number generation here where they're pulling randomly from the beats that are available. So if we, I'm gonna go to my whiteboard, share. The basic scene in drama is you have two characters, A and B. A wants something from B and either gets it or they don't. Right? And we can break down just about everything, every human connection. I mean, it's a very reductivist way of looking at the world. But every time you talk to someone, you are asking, there's an ask. Either they're asking something from you or you're asking something from them. And famous playwright David Mamet said, human adults don't say what they want. They say that which will get them what they want. Right. So, again, this is a very reductivist way of looking at relationships. But it's a good way to break down scenes. So basically, here, I'm even good. A, give me that. B, A. I'm playwriting now. Please. Okay. Okay. So each of those, give me that. No, that's a tactic. Asking for the thing that you want is a tactic. Coming out and saying, hey, will you hand me that? That's a tactic. And, you know, depending on what that is, you either get it or you don't. Please is, I will use courtesy in order to get that which I want. Still no. Give me that and I'll be your friend. I will give you something for the thing. There is an exchange here. No. Every time B says no, the thing acquires more value. The harder a thing to get, the harder a thing is to get, the more value it has for the holder. Right? So if I say, what's your name? And you say, Bob, not a big deal. What's your name? Why do you want to know? Can I see some ID? I don't have any ID on me. Right? Suddenly your identity becomes important. So, and by the end, give me that, or I'll hit you, be you, and what army, A, come on, I just need it, B, oh, I hate to see you beg. I got something in chat. I have an army. We have a Hulk. Yes, exactly. So, the thing here is the direct approach. Give me that. No, please. No. Give me that and I'll be your friend. No, give me that or I'll hit you. What does this sound like? What do we know about A and B? Mm, mm. Oh, come on.
A doesn't like sharing information.
A
Or
needs the thing. If we can, what kind of characters are thee? A doesn't have an army. We don't know that. Maybe there's one over the hill. There's a hill? I didn't know there was a hill. These sound like kids, don't they? Sounds like two children on a playground. Because kids ask for what they want. Adults use tactics. Yes, Carrie, they sound like children. Carrie got it. It's funny that kids are direct and adults have somehow over their lives figured out that by asking for the thing, they are assigning value to the thing, and value means an exchange. So they get sneaky and try to get the thing they want by devaluing it. Okay, so not only is that a simple relationship, but I'm almost out of time. Going back to here, but it's the simplest. Two people is the simplest dialogue you can have, right? Sure, you can have a monologue, but generally a monologue is to an audience. People talk to them, mumble to themselves, but they don't generally form a lot of coherency. But if we go with 3 characters, then I have exponentially increased. Is it exponential? I don't think so. The number of relationships, because now instead of 2 relationships, I have 6 relationships. What does C think of B? What does C think of A? What does A think of C? What does A think of B? And what does B think of A and B think of C? So if I were going to assign you the most basic writing prompt, I would say, give me 2 characters, one wants something from the other and either gets it or they don't by the end of the scene. If I want a 3 character scene, then I generally have A and B are having some kind of conflict. Generally, A wants something from B or B wants something from A. And C is trying to keep them in the room. C becomes the diplomat. Because let's face it, most conflicts end with people leaving. I can't tell you how many times I've watched a play or even watched it's less likely in movies because one person tries to leave, they leave the room, but the camera follows them and so does the other person, so we can go from place to place. But in a play, they got to stay in the room because it's not economical for them to leave the room, and we change the set in order for the scene to continue in a different place. So one of the easiest ways to do that is have a third character sitting there trying to moderate. And In this case, in the case of Facade, that's what we have. We have a 3-character scene. 2 characters are having a conflict. The third character, aka you, is trying to keep them in the room. It's also interesting that most people think of the getting them back together as the good ending, right? And there is no indication, there is no direction for what you should do in Facade. You can, if you want to woo Grace or Trip, you are perfectly free to do that, right? They didn't seem to have a very good relationship. Exactly. So maybe they're better off apart, right? Maybe the scene, the either Trip or Grace becoming self-actualized and saying, I can't stay in this relationship anymore, and leaving is the better ending. The game itself makes no judgment as to what is the best ending. Except maybe it's harder to get them back together than it is the other endings. So the hardest ending becomes the good ending. But we don't know. You decide what the good ending is. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about procedurally generating stuff. I'm going to stop the share, but I've run out of time. So tomorrow we will talk a little bit more about Facade and going to One Night Stand. One Night Stand. The big difference between Facade and One Night Stand is pretty much Facade is real time and One Night Stand is kind of turn based. It will wait for you to make a decision. Also, it doesn't have a text parser. It gives you choices, right? Choice A, choice B, choice C. But still relationship, and it's only 2 characters instead of 3. So in many ways, One Night Stand, even though much more modern, is the simpler game. Okay, so but we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Have a good Thursday night. Play D&D. Eat healthy and live a good life. And I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you.